Earth was never a threat, just a dead rock spinning in the void. The words crashed through the vaulted chamber of the Galactic Council spire like a thunderclap. Ambassador Krylos' voice echoed cold and sharp against the polished obsidian walls. His 3 bulbous eyes shimmered with a venomous certainty as he paced the circular dais before the assembly of the universe's mightiest. Around the council, representatives from 100 star systems, scaled, tentacled, winged, shifted uneasily but wore masks of amusement. To them, Earth was a fossil, a primitive anomaly on the outskirts of their galactic map, barely a footnote in history's vast tome. The stars beyond the great glass windows shimmered with indifferent brilliance, oblivious to the petty squabbles. Below, high above the council chambers, in the shadowed observation gallery, a lone figure stood silent. Commander Armada Voss, clad in a stark uniform, leaned forward, eyes burning with a quiet fire. The cold void outside the spire mirrored the icy resolve in her gaze. "They dismiss us," she murmured, voice low enough that no one heard but the ghosts of old battles. "They think we are weak, primitive, forgotten, but beneath Earth's serene blue surface, something far from weak stirred. Thousands of kilometers below the atmosphere, in caverns older than any recorded history, dormant warships slumbered. In vast subterranean docks, ancient machines built by hands, long vanished, powered by technology, lost to time but never destroyed. These vessels, hidden from alien sight, were not relics but waiting titans. On the orbital command station hovering, silently in Earth's exosphere, Amara's hand hovered above a cryptic console. Lights flickered to life, casting eerie glows on her determined face. A countdown appeared. 07:59:59. 7 hours, 59 minutes, 59 seconds until reactivation. Her breath was steady, but inside, the tempest of anticipation raged. "History will remember," she said to no one but herself, "that Earth was never as fragile as they believed." Across the council chamber, Ambassador Krylos smiled thinly. The legends of Earth's Armada are just that, legends, myth spun from fear and old wars. He gestured toward a vast hologram suspended in the air, a map of star systems, fleets, and past battles. None marked Earth as a threat, none feared it. They have no fleet, no technology to challenge us. But the truth was buried deeper. The camera shifted from the glowing council to orbit, where satellites and stealth ships moved in near silence. Suddenly, a pulse, a faint, rhythmic blip, originated from deep space, traveling with precision toward Earth. The signal carried secrets, activation codes, old war protocols, calls long dormant. In the command station's quiet control room, Amara watched the data stream. Her face was unreadable, but her eyes flickered with a mixture of pride and cold resolve. 7 hours and change, she said softly, until the Armada awakens. She turned to her second-in-command, Lieutenant Rhea, who studied the readouts anxiously. "Will they believe it when we show them?" Amara's lips curved into a rare, sharp smile. "They won't have a choice." Meanwhile, across Earth's fractured governments, no alarm bells rang. The Council had blinded itself to Earth's potential, blinded by arrogance and cosmic disdain. They believed the human race was too divided, too primitive, too weak to pose any real danger. But beneath the veneer of peace, Earth had been readying its silent war. In the council chamber, voices rose in arrogant debate, dismissing the faint warnings from scouts. The Eldar Council, their species known for cruel wisdom, believed victory was assured without a fight. But far away, in the uncharted sectors, the ghost fleet stirred. Ships older than recorded memory hummed to life, weapon systems calibrated with silent precision. A new generation of pilots trained in the shadows, prepared to take their place in history. Amara's voice cut through the chamber of her command station, low but cutting. "They thought we were alone. She glanced back. Out the observation window, where Earth spun slowly beneath a blanket of stars. They never looked underground. The final seconds of the countdown ticked down. 3, 2, 1. An explosion of light. A surge of energy radiated across Earth's exosphere. The dormant Armada reactivated. The galaxy had no idea what was coming. This is the beginning of our reckoning. Earth's ancient defense systems awaken in response to a mysterious signal from the far reaches of space. Scientists and military leaders scramble to decipher its meaning as the alien council dismisses it as cosmic noise. But when entire fleets vanish without explanation, the terrifying truth begins to unravel. The cosmos was silent, but not empty. Far beyond the edge of known space, drifting through dark voids and fractured star clusters, a faint pulse rippled, a signal almost too subtle to detect. It carried a language older than recorded history, encrypted in quantum harmonics and coded with secrets from a forgotten war. Dr. Kian Malik stared at the cascade of data streaming across the vast hollow screen in Earth's primary deep space communications center. His fingers trembled as he adjusted the filters, trying to untangle the message hidden beneath the cosmic static. "It's not random," he whispered to himself, voice hushed but charged with awe. "It's a call." Around him, the room buzzed with tension. Military officers paced. Technicians scrambled to keep up, but no one fully grasped the magnitude of what the signal meant. Amara stood behind Malik, her arms crossed, her gaze sharp and steady. "It's time," she said. "The signal is the key." Thousands of light-years away, within the gleaming walls of the Galactic Council's war chamber, Admiral Krylos reclined in his throne. His many eyes flicked over the intercepted reports, scattered, incomplete, easy to dismiss. "Noise," he said coldly, dismissing alarms raised by his scouts. "A cosmic blip. Earth's last desperate plea for attention." Council warships remained poised, ready but unshaken. The Eldar believed the ancient Armada a myth, Earth's spacefaring technology obsolete relics. But they had underestimated Earth's patience and resolve. Back on Earth, Dr. Malik's fingers danced across the interface, unlocking layers of the message. It was more than a beacon. It was a protocol, a sequence of commands embedded deep in the quantum code, a key to awaken something sleeping beneath the surface. Amara's voice cut through the hum of machinery. "It's activating." The message echoed through Earth's secret command centers and underground bunkers, triggering systems long forgotten. Elsewhere, in hidden command hubs buried beneath mountain ranges and ocean floors, dormant warships in their cavernous docks shuddered as power flowed into their engines and weapon systems. Captain Elias Kane's voice came over the comm, steady and commanding. "All crews to stations, the Armada stirs." In the Galactic Council's chambers, reports began to unsettle the assembled dignitaries. Entire reconnaissance fleets dispatched to investigate the signal had vanished, swallowed by the void without a trace. Admiral Zeltur's eyes narrowed. "Impossible. This is no coincidence." But the Council's pride still blinded them. On Earth's surface, beneath the thin veneer of normalcy, governments moved cautiously. Military forces scrambled, but there was no panic. Preparation was silent, deliberate. Amara addressed her command staff with cold clarity. "They've ignored us for too long. Now we'll make sure they never do again." The mysterious signal pulsed again, now accompanied by bursts of encrypted data revealing coordinates, protocols, and strategic commands. The Armada was not a ghost story. It was a weapon waiting to be reactivated. Back in the depths of space, the Council warships scrambled to respond as more fleets went dark. Panic rippled beneath the calm facade. Admiral Zeltur slammed his fist on the armrest. "They're not done. Earth has been hiding something deadly." In Earth's command center, Amara stood over a massive digital star map, plotting the approaching alien fleets. Her eyes burned with determination. "Prepare the Ghost Fleet for full activation," she ordered. Lieutenant Rhea nodded. "All systems. Green, the Armada awakens." Beneath Earth's surface, the warships stirred to life, ancient engines humming, weapon systems charging in cold precision. The pilots, descendants of the original defenders, embraced their legacy. Elias Kane's voice rang out, "We're going home." The Council's arrogance cracked. The galaxy's most feared armada was no myth. Earth's silent defense was now an unstoppable force. The war had begun. Deep beneath Earth's surface, the ancient Ghost Fleet powers up after centuries of silence. Pilots awaken from cryo-sleep, inheriting a legacy of war and duty. Alien spies desperately seek to uncover the fleet's secrets, but Earth's hidden strength begins to tip the balance. The cavern was vast beyond imagining, an endless cathedral, carved from bedrock, its walls lined with machines of war older than memory itself. Shadows danced against metal hulls whose surfaces gleamed faintly under the cold blue glow of dormant quantum reactors. Massive warships, silent for centuries, stirred like ancient beasts awakening from a millennia-long slumber. In the dim light, cryogenic chambers hissed open one by one, releasing plumes of chilled vapor. Inside, humanity's most skilled pilots and commanders gasped for breath, muscles stiff and minds racing as they reoriented themselves to a world they barely recognized. "Captain." Elias Kane's eyes snapped open. His breath came ragged and deep. A flood of memories surged, old battles, lost comrades, and an oath passed down through generations. "We're back," he whispered, voice rough but resolute. The chambers around him released more soldiers, their faces pale but eyes burning with fierce determination. A voice crackled over the comm. "All crews report status. We are initiating system boot." Elias swung his legs off the cryopod and stood. The ground beneath rumbled softly as engines awakened. Systems flickered to life, and the Ghost Fleet prepared to rise. Far above, on the planet's surface, hidden operatives disguised as diplomats and traders moved swiftly through crowded cities. They were alien agents, members of the Galactic Council's covert forces, desperate to locate the secret hubs fueling Earth's resurgence. But their search was futile. The fleet was hidden beneath layers of impenetrable rock and electromagnetic shielding, safe from even the most advanced scanning technologies. "Contact lost again," reported an agent, frustration edging his voice. Earth's silence was not ignorance, it was patience and strategy. Deep in the command center, Amara's sharp eyes tracked every movement, every report from surface intelligence and orbital scanners. "They won't find us," she said coldly. "The fleet is ours. The advantage belongs to Earth." Beside her, Lieutenant Rhea monitored. System diagnostics. Engines at 90%, weapon systems fully operational, quantum shields stable. Amara nodded. "Ready the pilots. The moment is close." Within the ship hangars, pilots donned advanced combat suits, sleek exoskeletons that enhanced strength, reflexes, and endurance. Their helmets flickered to life, projecting tactical displays over sharp, determined eyes. Elias Kane approached a sleek fighter, its hull etched with ancient markings and battle scars, symbols of sacrifice and honor. "Old friends," he murmured. Touching the cold metal, he climbed inside, settling into the cockpit as the ship hummed with renewed power. Outside, orbital satellites monitored the shifting tide of alien fleets. Reports streamed in. Council ships moved cautiously, scanning for threats that remained elusive. "They think silence means weakness," Amara said, voice laced with quiet fury. "They don't know what's beneath their feet." Meanwhile, across Earth's surface, communities braced for change. Some knew the truth, sworn to secrecy. Others lived in ignorance, but all would soon witness humanity's resurgence. The Council's arrogance had blinded them. Their spies had failed. Earth's ghost fleet was no myth. It was a sleeping giant now stirring. On board the flagship, Elias received final mission orders. Your target is the Council's forward patrols. Disrupt their supply lines and sow confusion. He grinned, voice steady. We go silent and strike hard. The ship's engines surged. Outside, hangar doors slid open, revealing the dark expanse of space. In the void, the first ships of the Ghost Fleet launched into the black, streaking past planetary defenses with deadly precision. A cold calm settled over the fleet, a balance of controlled fury and calculated patience. Elias's squadron was among the first, weaving through asteroid belts and dark nebulae, shadows among shadows. Back on Earth, Armada watched the fleet's departure from the command center, heart pounding, with a mix of pride and steely resolve. This is only the beginning, she said softly. We're coming back. In the distant reaches of the Council's territory, alarms blared. Patrols vanished, supplies disappeared. Panic rippled through the ranks. Admiral Zeltur slammed his fist on the console. They're moving faster than we anticipated. Earth's Ghost Fleet was no longer a secret. It was the herald of a war the galaxy had forgotten, but humanity would never lose. Alien Armada warships enter Earth's orbit, confident in their dominance. But the Ghost Fleet strikes first, shattering their arrogance. The battle ignites a brutal war, marking humanity's fierce return and altering the galaxy's power balance forever. The alien Armada moved with cold precision, sleek warships slicing through Earth's orbit like sharks sensing blood. The Council's fleets arrived in sweeping formations, weapons primed, shields blazing in cold blue energy. Admiral Zeltur's flagship hung at the center, massive and imposing, the embodiment of galactic power. Confidence radiated from his every command, a certainty that Earth's resistance was a fading legend. We control this space, Zeltur declared. Their weapons are relics, their fighters mere insects. The Council fleet began a slow, deliberate sweep, scanning for hidden enemies. Drones darted out, sensors probing every shadow, but Earth's Ghost Fleet waited in silence. Beneath the surface of the planet, sensors in hidden caves and bunkers pulsed to life. The command station was a hive of coordinated activity. Every pilot at their post, weapons systems hot, shields charged. Captain Elias Kane sat rigid in his cockpit, the hum of his fighter's engines a steady reassurance. We go on my mark, he said. We hit fast, hit hard, and vanish before they can respond. His squadron mirrored his grim determination, eyes focused, hands steady on controls. The first strike was sudden and devastating. A stealth squadron launched from concealed orbit, weaving through the Council's patrols with surgical precision. Plasma bursts tore into shields, crippling engines before the enemy could react. The void exploded with fire and smoke, flashes of brilliant energy lighting the darkness as Earth's fighters danced between debris and destruction. Admiral Zeltur snarled, ordering counterattacks. Massive warships turned their turrets, unleashing torrents of energy. The Ghost Fleet dodged, their smaller, agile fighters exploiting weaknesses in the Council's formations. Keep pressure, Elias commanded. Focus on communications and supply ships. We starve their strength. The alien Armada reeled from the unexpected ferocity. Losses mounted and panic crept into their ranks. They underestimated Earth, Zeltur growled, his pride wounded. We must crush them. On the command station, Amara monitored the battle with icy resolve. Each explosion, each damaged enemy ship was a victory not just of firepower, but of will. Our fleet is more than machines, she said. It's the spirit of humanity, unyielding and relentless. Her voice cut through the comms. Push forward, no mercy. The battle escalated. Fighters screamed past massive cruisers. Missiles streaked across the void, and the steady roar of engines filled the black. Elias's squadron executed hit-and-run attacks, slipping behind enemy lines to sabotage shield generators and disrupt command arrays. They moved like ghosts, silent predators hunting in the dark. In the chaos, Council warships faltered. Communications jammed, supply chains severed. Admiral Zeltur barked orders to regroup, but his confidence was shaken. Earth's Armada was no myth. It was a storm unleashed. Amidst the battle, Elias caught a transmission, a call for surrender from a crippled Council frigate. He smiled grimly. Not a chance. His fighter dove back into the fray, plasma cannons blazing. Back on Earth, civilians watched the night sky, some in awe, others in fear, as flashes of light and distant explosions marked the opening salvos of a war decades in the making. The galaxy had been warned. Earth was no longer a silent blue world. Admiral Zeltur retreated behind a shattered cruiser, fury burning in his eyes. They thought Earth was weak. His voice was bitter, but beneath it lurked fear. They never saw the storm. In the command center, Amara allowed herself a brief, sharp smile. "We've made our first mark." Her gaze hardened. "The war has only begun. The Galactic Council declares Earth a rogue threat and strikes back with covert operatives and sabotage teams infiltrating Earth cities. Amid explosions and espionage, humanity struggles with internal fractures and shaken trust, revealing that the war is as much within as it is against alien invaders. The galaxy's silence shattered into chaos. The Galactic Council, once arrogant and dismissive, now seethed with rage. Earth's sudden and brutal return had cracked the facade of their supremacy, exposing vulnerabilities no one dared admit. In the marble halls of the Council's war chamber, cold voices debated the next step. The Council declared Earth a rogue menace, an outlier to be eradicated or controlled. Elite operatives, cloaked in human disguises, were dispatched in waves to Earth's major cities. Their mission was clear: sabotage Earth's infrastructure, cripple its communications, and fracture the fragile unity that held the Ghost Fleet's support. On the bustling streets of New York, disguised agents slipped through crowds unnoticed, planting devices that hummed with silent destruction. Power grids flickered and failed, plunging neighborhoods into darkness. Communications blacked out, and panic flickered through the populace. In Berlin, similar disruptions spread like wildfire, coordinated strikes on transport hubs and military installations. But Earth was ready, deep within secure command bunkers. Amara's intelligence network tracked the saboteurs' movements. "They're here," she said, voice sharp. "But so are we." Earth's counterintelligence sprung into action. Operatives arrested suspected agents, while cyber warfare units launched counterattacks, disrupting the Council's communications and feeding false data. Yet the attacks exposed fault lines within humanity's own ranks. Old rivalries, political tensions, and whispered distrust threatened to unravel the fragile alliance forged in desperation. In a tense meeting, Amara confronted her commanders. "We fight the galaxy, but if we can't trust each other, we lose." Her gaze cut through the room. "We must be stronger than that." Meanwhile, in the shadows, a hidden hand stirred. A human agent working for the Council moved silently, feeding information to alien masters. Commander Lysander Gray, once a celebrated hero, now a traitor. His betrayal was a wound far deeper than any bomb or bullet. "Why betray your own?" Amara demanded in a cold confrontation. Gray's smile was empty, his eyes hiding dark motives. "Survival is all that matters. The Council offers a future Earth cannot." His words cut deep, shaking the faith of those who had believed in unity. Sabotage campaign escalated. Explosions rocked power plants, military bases were compromised, and misinformation sowed chaos. But Earth fought back fiercely. Communities rallied, military units adapted, and intelligence cracked the Council's encryption. Amara's leadership held the fractured pieces together, but the cost was clear. Trust, once broken, is the hardest thing to repair. Every whispered suspicion, every secret meeting, every unspoken doubt weighed heavily. Armada knew the war was no longer just against alien fleets. It was a battle for Earth's soul. As the Council's wrath intensified, Earth's resilience shone through. The Ghost Fleet prepared for its next move, fueled not just by weapons, but by a determination forged in betrayal and hardship. In the dim light of her command center, Armada whispered, "They think they can break us. They don't understand what it means to be human." The war was far from over. Ancient Earth ruins, uncovered in the desert, revealed forgotten technologies and a cryptic prophecy. As humanity races to unlock these secrets, old wounds begin to heal, alliances strengthen, and a shocking revelation threatens to shake morale and redefine Earth's destiny. The desert winds howled across the barren expanse, shifting dunes like waves frozen in time. Beneath the scorching sun, a team of archaeologists unearthed what no one on Earth had seen for millennia, an entrance concealed by centuries of sand and silence. Dr. Kian Malik stood at the threshold, heart pounding. Behind him, a small contingent of soldiers kept watch, weapons ready, eyes scanning the horizon for threats. The world above had no idea what lay beneath these shifting sands, secrets that might change everything. "This isn't just a ruin," Malik whispered. "It's a vault." The entrance led deep underground, spiraling down into catacombs of stone and metal. Walls carved with ancient glyphs glowed faintly with bioluminescent moss, revealing star maps, complex equations, and warnings etched by hands long vanished. Amara Voss arrived moments later, her expression grave. "What do we have?" Malik led her through the winding halls, illuminating walls etched with images of stars, ships, and battles. A pictorial history of Earth's lost armada, forgotten wars fought not just on this planet, but across galaxies. These markings, they match no known language, Malik explained, but the patterns are consistent with quantum encryption. Our ancestors encoded knowledge here, technology, tactics, even warnings. Amara's eyes narrowed. Warnings of what? The chamber opened into a vast central hall, dominated by a towering obelisk carved from an unknown metal. Its surface pulsed with shifting runes, glowing in an eerie rhythm. A console beside it sparked to life as Amara approached. "Technology beyond our time," she breathed. On the obelisk's surface, a holographic figure flickered into existence. An ancient AI guardian, designed to convey a message across millennia. The AI's voice was calm, but tinged with urgency. "Welcome, heirs of Earth. You stand at a crossroads of fate. The Armada you awaken carries the burden of past sins and future hope. Beware betrayal from within. The enemy is not only without, but among you. Only unity will prevail." Amara and Malik exchanged glances. The prophecy echoed the fractures growing within Earth's ranks. "This is more than technology," Malik said. "It's a roadmap for war, for survival, and for what's to come." Back at the command center, the discovery rippled through the ranks. Analysts scrambled to decode the chamber's secrets, working around the clock. Engineers integrated newly uncovered technologies, gravity manipulation devices, quantum rift generators, and energy shields that bent light. The Ghost Fleet's capabilities surged forward, fueled by the wisdom of a lost civilization. But the revelation came with a price. An encrypted message buried deep within the AI's data revealed a staggering truth. A betrayal centuries ago had fractured the original. Armada, dooming Earth to centuries of silence, whispers of collusion with alien forces, internal power struggles, and a devastating loss that nearly wiped humanity from the stars. The burden of history weighed heavily on Amara's shoulders. In the quiet of her quarters, she reflected on the prophecy. "The enemy among us," she murmured. "We must root out the traitors before history repeats." Meanwhile, in the shadows, Lysander Gray, watched the news feeds with a cold smile. "The past is a tool," he whispered, "and the future belongs to those who seize it." His allegiance was no longer to Earth, but to powers seeking to reshape the galaxy by any means necessary. Despite the threat within, Earth's leaders found renewed purpose. Factions long divided began tentative talks of alliance, recognizing that survival demanded unity. Across cities and colonies, banners of peace and resistance rose, old wounds slowly healing in the face of a common enemy. Armada addressed the assembly of commanders and diplomats. "We stand on the shoulders of giants. Their sacrifice and wisdom guide us. We must be stronger, smarter, and united." Her voice echoed with conviction. "The future of Earth depends on it." As new weapons hummed to life and fleet exercises intensified, the ancient prophecy remained. A haunting reminder. Victory would demand more than strength. It would demand trust, sacrifice, and unwavering resolve. Outside, the desert wind continued to shift the sands over the hidden vault, a silent guardian of secrets that could save or doom humanity. The Ghost Fleet's awakening was more than a military resurgence. It was a rebirth. A trusted Earth commander, Lysander Grey, is revealed as a traitor, feeding secrets to the Galactic Council. His duplicity shakes Earth's fragile unity, forcing humanity to confront internal dangers alongside the external war. The emotional fallout threatens morale and complicates the fight for survival. The storm had already begun long before the revelation. Whispers slithered through the corridors of Earth's command centers, half-truths, suspicious glances, unanswered questions. Trust, the fragile thread holding the human coalition together, frayed dangerously thin. At the heart of the chaos was Lysander Grey. Commander Grey had been a beacon of hope, a war hero celebrated for daring raids that crippled enemy supply lines and inspired troops across Earth's scattered fleets. His reputation was untarnished, his loyalty assumed. But loyalty was a currency he no longer traded honestly. In a dimly lit room deep within Earth's most secure facility, Grey sat alone, eyes cold and calculating, as encrypted transmissions flickered across a holographic console. Alien symbols danced in patterns only he fully understood. "The Council's reach is long," he murmured, voice low, "and their promises sweeter than Earth's fractured hopes." A flicker of doubt crossed his face. Was it regret, or simply the burden of survival? No one could tell. Elsewhere, Amara sat surrounded by intelligence reports, her brow furrowed in mounting concern. Intercepted communications hinted at leaks, critical battle plans compromised, supply routes ambushed. "Somebody's betraying us," she said quietly, eyes scanning every dossier. Her instincts told her it was not an alien spy, but one of their own. The confrontation came swiftly. Grey was summoned to a secure chamber where Amara waited, flanked by trusted officers. "Commander Grey," Amara began, her voice steely, "we have evidence of your communications with the Council." His expression flickered, then hardened. "Why?" she pressed. "Why betray your people?" Grey's smile was bitter. "Survival. The galaxy is a merciless place. The Council offers stability, power. Earth is chaos and ruin. Your treachery costs lives," Amara said, voice breaking with restrained anger. "We fight for freedom, not submission." The fallout was immediate. Grey's betrayal rocked the foundation of Earth's alliance. Suspicion spread like wildfire. Old grudges flared, and unity fractured anew. Some demanded swift justice. Others feared a deeper conspiracy. In the midst of turmoil, Grey vanished. His disappearance fueled rumors. Had he fled to the Council, or was he orchestrating sabotage from the shadows? Amara refused to waver. "We will find him," she vowed, "and we will root out every threat, no matter how close." Meanwhile, on the front lines, soldiers fought not only against alien fleets, but against the invisible enemy within. Morale dipped as trust frayed. In briefings and barracks, hushed conversations echoed, "Who can we believe? Who is next?" Amara recognized the stakes. "This is a war not only of weapons, but of hearts and minds," she told her commanders. "We must heal, rebuild trust. Without it, we fall." Efforts to unify intensified. Leaders convened in emergency councils, vows renewed, alliances reforged. But the shadow of betrayal lingered, a spectre threatening to undo all progress. Amid the chaos, Elias Kane prepared his squadron for their next mission. "Focus on the fight ahead," he urged. "We win together or lose alone." His words echoed the unspoken truth. Deep in secret enclaves, Grey worked to undermine humanity's efforts. His motives murky, his allegiance fractured. He embodied the dangerous fracture between survival and sacrifice. As Earth braced for the coming storm, one thing was clear. The battle was no longer just for Earth's survival. It was for its soul. Despite betrayal and hardship, humanity unites stronger than ever. Old divisions begin to heal as new. Alliances form between Earth's nations and space colonies. A bold plan is forged to take the war directly to the Galactic Council's homeworld, shifting humanity from defense to aggressive offense. The fractures ran deep. For decades, Earth had been a fractured planet. Nations divided by old wars, ideologies clashing like thunder and lightning. Distrust had lingered like a stubborn fog, threatening to choke the fragile alliances formed in desperation. Yet, in the crucible of war, humanity found a strange kind of alchemy, unity forged through fire. In the great hall beneath Earth's orbital command station, leaders from every major nation, faction, and colony gathered, a mosaic of cultures, languages, and ambitions. Some faces were grim, others hopeful, all burdened by the weight of survival. Amara stood at the center, her presence commanding silence. "We have been tested," she began, voice steady and clear, "by external enemies and internal shadows." Her gaze swept across the room. "But this is no time for division." Murals of Earth's diverse peoples adorned the walls, a reminder that despite differences, they shared one home, one future. Diplomats from the Mars colonies nodded solemnly. Scientists from oceanic research bases listened intently. Veterans from ground forces exchanged determined glances. A new chapter was beginning. The betrayal of Lysander Grey was fresh in everyone's minds, a stark warning of how easily trust could be broken, yet it had also galvanized a collective resolve. "If we falter now," Amara continued, "we lose not just a war, but the very soul of humanity." The room erupted into discussion, strategies, shared resources, intelligence exchanges. The Ghost Fleet's strength would no longer be fragmented across nations. It would be a unified force, coordinated and lethal. Amara unveiled a daring plan. "We strike at the heart of the Galactic Council," she declared. "Their homeworld Eldar is vulnerable. If we can cripple their command, we can end this war on our terms." Murmurs rippled through the assembly. Some warned of the dangers. The Council's homeworld was heavily fortified, a crucible of their might. But the risk was necessary. Unity brought new hope, new strength. Across Earth's sprawling cities, the news spread like wildfire. From towering metropolises to isolated settlements, people rallied under a shared banner. Banners flew, not of nations, but of Earth itself. Old enemies clasped hands. Trade resumed, communications restored. The world exhaled a collective breath of cautious optimism. Meanwhile, engineers and scientists integrated the newly discovered ancient technologies into Earth's fleet. Quantum rift cannons, gravity manipulation fields, energy shields, once legends, became reality. The Ghost Fleet grew not just in numbers, but in power. Training intensified. Pilots and soldiers prepared for a long voyage, facing unknown dangers in the deep dark. Elias Kane drilled his squadron relentlessly. "We are the storm they never expected," he said. "Let's show them what it means to fight for Earth." Back in the shadows, whispers of rebellion stirred among oppressed worlds within the Council's empire. Some saw humanity's uprising as a spark of hope. Armada sent envoys to those factions, forging fragile alliances in the enemy's backyard. The galaxy was shifting. On the eve of departure, Armada stood once more at the observation deck of the command station. She watched Earth's blue orb slowly rotate beneath a blanket of stars. Her voice was quiet, but resolute. "We have come together, not just as soldiers or survivors, but as one people, one Earth." The fleet's engines hummed to life, a symphony of power and purpose. The long voyage to Eldar began. The war was no longer a defense of a broken world. It was a campaign to reclaim the future. Humanity's Armada embarks on a perilous journey through hostile space. Ambushes, cosmic hazards, and dwindling resources test the endurance and ingenuity of the fleet. Bonds are forged in fire and loss as the crew prepares for the ultimate confrontation ahead. The Ghost Fleet slipped silently from Earth's orbit, stars stretching into elongated streaks as the engines engaged faster than light drives. Behind them, the blue jewel of their homeworld faded into the void, a symbol of all they fought to protect. Armada stood on the bridge of the flagship, her eyes tracing the star field beyond. Every light represented a distant sun, a world indifferent to humanity's struggle, or worse, hostile to it. "We leave behind everything familiar," she said softly, "but there is no turning back." The long voyage was not just a test of technology, it was a crucible for the souls aboard. Months in stasis pods passed as the fleet coasted through deep space, then sudden bursts of light signaled dangerous anomalies ahead. Nebulae thick with ion storms, asteroid fields dense with silent killers, and gravity wells that twisted space itself. "Captain Kane, report." Amara's voice cut through the comms. "We've detected an ambush ahead." Kane responded, voice tight with urgency. "Council scouts lying in wait." The first firefight erupted without warning. Swarm fighters darted from the shadows, plasma bolts streaking across the void. Elias's squadron leapt into action, weaving through enemy fire, responding with deadly precision. The battle was brutal and close quarters. Pilots screamed in comms, adrenaline sharpening every reflex. A cruiser in their vanguard suffered a catastrophic breach, sending fiery debris tumbling through space. Losses hit hard, and the weight of mortality settled over the fleet. Back on the flagship, Armada coordinated damage control and defensive maneuvers, voice calm but fierce. "We adapt or die," she said. "Every loss teaches us." The journey stretched on, testing endurance and unity. Crew morale fluctuated, strained by isolation and the ever-present shadow of death. But bonds formed, shared stories in mess halls, whispered hopes, and fierce loyalty among warriors who knew the stakes. Lieutenant Rhea comforted a young pilot haunted by the loss of her squadmate. "We fight for those who can't," she said gently. "Their sacrifice fuels us." Armada reflected on the weight of command. Every decision carried lives, futures, and the fate of Earth itself. Yet she refused to falter. Amid cosmic storms and enemy skirmishes, the fleet grew stronger. Technology, gleaned from ancient ruins, was integrated mid-flight, weapon systems upgraded, and new tactics honed. The Ghost Fleet was no longer a ragtag collection, but a unified force, honed by fire. Rumors of Earth's advance spread across the galaxy. Some worlds braced for conflict, others whispered of rebellion. The galaxy was waking to humanity's resolve. As the fleet neared Eldar's system, a new tension gripped the crews. The calm before the storm. Armada stood once more at the observation deck, eyes locked on the distant glow of the Council's homeworld. Her voice was steady. "This is where we prove ourselves." The final battle loomed, humanity's ghost fleet arrives in Eldar's orbit and lays siege to the Galactic Council's homeworld. Space battles erupt with devastating force as the Council scrambles to defend its heart. Unexpected alliances and personal sacrifices shape the brutal conflict, pushing both sides to their limits. The massive warships of Earth's ghost fleet drifted into Eldar's orbit like a dark storm swallowing the light. The gleaming towers and spires of the Council's capital planet shimmered below, symbols of unyielding power and centuries of dominance. But beneath the surface of Eldar, unrest brewed. Oppressed worlds within the Council's empire whispered of revolution. The arrival of humanity's fleet was a beacon of hope and a spark that could ignite rebellion. Armada stood on the bridge of the flagship, eyes locked on the holographic projection of Eldar's defenses. "Shields at 70%, reported. Lieutenant Rhea, fingers dancing across the console. "Enemy fleet massing in 3 main sectors," Admiral Zeltur's voice crackled over the comms, cold and furious. "You dare threaten the heart of the Council? We will crush you like insects." Amara's response was calm, sharp. "We are no insects." The battle erupted with a ferocity that shook the void. Massive cruisers unleashed torrents of plasma. Fire. Coruscating beams sliced through space, and swarms of fighters wove deadly patterns around massive war machines. Elias Kane led his squadron deep into the fray, weaving through ion blasts and debris fields. "Push forward," he barked. "Disable their command relays." Explosions blossomed like stars dying in the night. Ships collided, shields flared and collapsed, and the very fabric of space trembled under the fury. On Eldar's surface, oppressed factions rose up, seizing the moment. Riots ignited, sabotage crippled infrastructure, and whispers of liberation spread like wildfire. Amara dispatched envoys to these factions, forging tentative alliances in the shadows of war. Back in orbit, the cost of battle mounted. A massive cruiser exploded in a cascade of fire and metal, sending shockwaves through the fleet. Losses weighed heavily on commanders and crews alike. In a quiet moment, Amara met with Elias Kane on the flagship's observation deck. "We've broken their line," he said, exhaustion shadowing his face. "But the cost," she replied, voice soft. "War never comes without sacrifice." They shared a moment of silent resolve, steeling themselves for what lay ahead. The Council, desperate to retain control, unleashed experimental weapons, gravity distorters, and temporal disruptors that warped space around Earth's ships. The Ghost Fleet struggled, but adapted, using newly integrated ancient tech to counter the assaults. The battle stretched into days, a relentless siege of attrition and strategy. Heroes emerged, pilots who turned the tide in desperate dogfights, engineers who repaired critical systems under fire, and diplomats who held fragile peace talks with rebel factions. Amara's command was tested to its limits. Every decision was a gamble between destruction and survival. Her voice cut through the chaos. "Hold the line! Every ship, every pilot matters." The Council's forces faltered, but their resolve hardened. Admiral Zeltur vowed vengeance, rallying his shattered fleets for a final desperate assault. As darkness cloaked the war-torn orbit, the Ghost Fleet braced for the storm that would decide the fate of Eldar, and perhaps the galaxy itself. As the siege of Eldar reaches its climax, Earth's commanders unleash a secret weapon, an ancient quantum rift cannon, capable of fracturing star systems. The Council's arrogance crumbles as chaos reigns, but the devastating attack drains Earth's resources and leaves the fleet vulnerable. The final battle hinges on sacrifice and courage beyond measure. The air on the flagship was thick with tension, electric with anticipation. The Ghost Fleet's engines thrummed low, a pulse synchronizing with the heartbeat of every soul aboard. Amara stood at the command console, eyes narrowed on the holographic display. The ancient weapon was ready. The quantum rift cannon, a relic of Earth's lost ancestors buried deep beneath the surface of the flagship. "This is it," she said quietly. "Our last, best chance." Scientists and engineers worked feverishly, their faces illuminated by flickering monitors as power funneled into the rift cannon's core. The weapon was unlike anything the galaxy had seen. It could tear at the fabric of space-time itself, creating rifts that destabilized entire star systems. But wielding such power came at a terrible cost. Elias Kane approached, his jaw tight with resolve. "This will turn the tide, but it's a one-shot gamble," Amara nodded. "We can't win by conventional means. The Council's grip is too strong. We break their command, and the galaxy breaks free." As the Council's fleets massed for their final assault, the rift cannon charged, energy coalescing into a brilliant sphere of light, humming with raw, unstable power. The countdown began on the bridge. Amara's voice was calm but resolute. "Prepare to fire on my mark." Outside, Council warships tightened their formation, ready to crush the Ghost Fleet in a final strike. The moment shattered the void. A blast of incomprehensible energy erupted, ripping through space-time. Stars flickered. Space itself warped and twisted as the rift expanded, swallowing ships, scattering fleets. Chaos reigned. Admiral Zeltur's voice cracked with fury and disbelief. "Impossible! How can this be?" The Council's command structure fragmented. As communications failed, ships lost to the rift's destructive maw. But the blast drained Earth's fleet. Shields flickered, engines sputtered, vulnerability spread like wildfire. Elias's squadron scrambled to defend the flagship, weaving through enemy fire and debris. "We hold the line!" he shouted. Amara's gaze burned with fierce determination. "We gambled everything," she said. "Now we fight to survive." The Council launched a desperate counterattack, exploiting Earth's weakened state. Every pilot, every soldier fought with ferocity, born of necessity. Losses piled high. Friendships forged in battle were tested as ships fell one by one. Amara found herself at the edge of exhaustion, the weight of command crushing, yet she refused to yield. "This is the moment that defines us," she told her crew. "Courage beyond fear, strength beyond loss." In the darkest hour, unexpected reinforcements arrived, rebel fleets from oppressed worlds, inspired by humanity's defiance, breaking chains to join the fight. The tide began to turn. The final gambit was not just a weapon of destruction, but a beacon of hope. With the Council shattered and their arrogance broken, humanity claims victory at a tremendous cost. Earth rises as a formidable new power in the galaxy, its hidden strength finally unveiled. But shadows of future threats linger, and the story closes on a note of wary hope and the promise of new challenges ahead. The silence after the storm was deafening. Stars blinked cold and distant in the vast emptiness of space, but beneath their light lay shattered warships drifting like ghosts, the remnants of a battle that would echo across the galaxy for generations. The once proud Council, Armada, lay fractured and broken, its command shattered like brittle glass under the weight of Earth's relentless assault. Amara stood on the bridge of the flagship, eyes tired but burning with fierce pride. Around her, the hum of damaged systems was a reminder of the cost paid. "We've won," she said softly, voice heavy with exhaustion and triumph. But victory is never free. Outside, the shattered planets of the Council's core world spun in silent testimony. Cities reduced to rubble, skies darkened by fires that would burn long after the last battle cry faded. Yet from the ashes rose a new dawn. Earth had returned, no longer a whispered legend, but a roaring force that reshaped the balance of power. Flags of Earth flew proudly across captured systems and newly allied worlds, symbols of a rebirth born in fire and sacrifice. Elias Kane stood beside Amara on The observation deck, gaze lost in the stars. They thought Earth was weak, he murmured. Amara nodded, her jaw set firm. They never saw the storm coming. The ghost fleet, battered but unbowed, began the long journey home. Repairs and rebuilding would take years. But Earth's spirit was unbreakable. Back on the battered command station, the cost of war weighed heavily on every soul. Lost comrades, broken families, and the scars of betrayal left wounds that would not heal overnight. Yet amid the mourning, hope blossomed. Earth's leaders vowed to build not just a stronger fleet, but a stronger world, united and vigilant. The council's remnants retreated into the shadows, licking their wounds and plotting vengeance. Amara's voice echoed in the halls of the command station, a warning and a promise. We've broken their arrogance, but the galaxy is vast, and threats remain. In the dark, reaches beyond known space, new eyes watched. Unknown forces stirred, drawn by the scent of war and opportunity. The story was far from over. As Earth's sun rose over cities slowly healing, Amara gazed out at the horizon. The battle changed us, she said softly, but humanity endures. A new chapter had begun, one where Earth was no longer the weak world they dismissed, but a beacon of strength, courage, and unyielding will. They thought Earth was weak. They were wrong.